Let me just begin by saying that if you look at the current crisis in confidence that is spread virally across the planet from the liquidity crisis, even when you pour in money at the top, it isn't because institutions have no confidence to lend between each other. It's certainly the confidence doesn't exist to move that money down into the local markets. A crisis in confidence is paralytic to economies, and when you look at the core of the challenge around cyber threat, you are dealing with something of similar proportion, where the confidence, the crisis can become incompetence of trading and sharing and collaborating. And I think that to put a punctuation mark around it, that's the size of the issue, where people are unwilling to trade online, where companies are unwilling to exchange in the emerging globalization and ecosystems. And you can see this paralytic event. But if I took it from maybe a bit more parochial, but certainly commercial perspective, with BT, we have nearly 22,500 people directly or indirectly employed in India. We do about 2% of the IT BPO export that's represented here for our company and our customers. So when I think about this, it has a real very, very tactile feel to it, and hence also my reaction to Sumitra. I have 5 children, and their safety and education, which I'll wrap up with just a personal comment there, is of tantamount importance to me. But when you look at it from the perspective of a global business operator, I'm going to take it in 3 areas. One is around technology, one's around policy, and the other is around people. Okay, and I'm going to start with the people. It's not exactly comfortable to talk about, but there's not a single security survey out there that doesn't highlight the risk to internal process and people being one of the core challenges. 215 million personal records lost in the U.S. Since 2005. Her Majesty's revenue losing disks. It's hard to tell sometimes whether this is malicious or it's accidental, but our people inside the organization, this is a real challenge around education and supplying them policy and governance around how to manage that. And when you take it into India, some of the challenges of keeping employment, whether it's in the IT organization or the BPO, you have people moving between organizations at high percentages. And this poses a real cyber challenge just when people are transitioning between organizations. And if you couple that with the current financial challenges, where people, I think, may actually be dislodged even at a higher rate, whether it's their own choice or through resizing and reshaping of businesses. This is an area where having greater education and greater governance inside our organizations, in fact, I think can protect the people, the consumer, the individuals, and the civil rights that we talked about earlier. The second area is around technology. I happen to agree that there are actually a lot of things that we can do technologically to improve this. There are emerging technologies that, instead of putting a big block on the front door of information assets, use more intelligent and linguistic techniques and computer science techniques to actually detect risks. One that I'm very interested in has to do with the ability when my 13-year-old daughter is chatting, okay, and it can look at, now this has other consequences, I can opt in as a parent to look at that chat IM session, because it isn't an email, you're right, and I can have this software tell me whether or not it is two 13-year-olds chatting, or by fuzzy logic algorithms and looking at intelligent systems, it can determine whether or not it's a 32-year-old pervert on the other end, because they can't do the same keystrokes. They don't use the same smiley faces in the same space, and I can get a sense of whether the conversation is at higher risk. These applications of technology, while they do require looking at the conversation, I think that they can also help keep people safer and alert us earlier, kind of like the Minority Report, where we're seeing into the future when the crime's going to happen, as opposed to being reactive, which is really all the different discussions that we had. These type of technologies are emerging for corporations to use, for individuals to use, and I think that there's some hope there. Going to policy,